Okay, now I'm kind of really liking how the sides look. And everything is kind of coming together, but you'll see, I'll get a bit of a close-up here. There's like slight details here that I'd like to clean up. And just like little touch-ups everywhere. So that's basically what I'm going to do right now, is just go over the whole cabinet, see what touch-ups are needed, and do that. The only other thing I got to do is pull the bezel frame out and kind of make this a bit smoother in here. But we'll do that after we do some of the touch-ups. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back with you once I'm done. Okay, so basically what I did today was the back of the doors here, I got the edges coated with gray, so when the doors are closed, you don't end up having like a little blue line showing up. I took care of a little bit of touch up on the corner here. On the edges of the side supports, there was a little bit of like yellow missing. On the front here, the edge was not really all that black, so I made it all black. And then on the front edges here, I started getting a bit more of that yellow, so there wasn't like kind of a gap there. But I'll continue doing this, and like anytime I do an overpaint like there, I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. But yeah, we're kind of getting there, and it's more or less just like final touch up at this point that we have to do. And yeah, I'll be back in my next segment where I paint a little bit more. And yeah, we're getting pretty close to this thing being done, thankfully. And then, of course, once we're done with that, we're going to go and spray it with the clear coat and finally be done with it. But yeah, that's all for right now. Okay, now as you can see, we're back to the OpenJVS Arcade cabinet. Basically what I'm going to be doing is looking at like any areas where the paint is just a little bit light, where there needs to be a bit of touch up. And I'm going to basically do a full once over on this unit and see if we can get all the paint looking nice. And then at the very end there, I will look at show you the cabinet again, and it'll kind of be the, okay, now everything's ready for the clear coat stage, and we're about to do that. But other than this last essential touch up here, pretty much this whole thing is finished. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the whole cabinet, do any touch up I think it needs, and then I'll be back to you once I'm pretty much done the painting stage. And after that, of course, I'll clear coat it, we'll put the hardware back in, and this project will be seen as 100% complete. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, which probably will take me like the major part of a day to just basically get every little bit of paint just perfect for my own liking, and then we will get to the next stage of this. Okay, now the only structural thing I still have to do with this is, if you see where the cutout there goes for the fan, there's a little bit of a sill on the bottom there. I kind of need to remove that so the fan will blow all the way into that hole. So that's what I'm doing right now. As you can see, I kind of started doing it, but I figured I'd just make a quick video where I would say, yeah, I'm going to remove that little piece on the bottom there that I already started getting rid of, and that will make a lot more room for the fan. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and yeah, once I'm done with all the touch-up, I'll show you that really quick. Okay, now at this point, I am considering this OpenJVS Arcade cabinet to be done. I will do a full once-over before I do the clear coat spray on it, but for all intents and purposes, it does look pretty done to me. The only thing I really still have to do is a little bit of a revision on the screen bezel. Notice how it's still a little jagged, but I'll do that another time. First, I just want to get this all sprayed and ready to go, and you'll see that in the next segment of this video, and then we'll be pretty close to being done with this. So that's going to be all for today, and yeah, I'll see you next when this is being sprayed, which of course in your time is going to be in like 3 seconds. Okay, now for one of the last parts of this video series here, we're just going to spray it with the clear coat. I'm not going to do it on video because it's kind of too hard to do it and record at the same time, but I'll give you an idea of what it looks like when we're all done here, but I'm just going to spray clear coat. This time I'm using the Rust-Oleum. Sometimes I use the Krylon. It all kind of works the same, but let's go ahead and get this done, and then I'll show you what we have when I'm done. Okay, now I am back with the OpenJVS Arcade cabinet, and what I'm going to do today is see if I can get everything in this, and with the exception of like one thing, everything will basically be together. So what we're basically going to do here is, and the exception of the one thing is the screen bezel, which I still have to do some work on. But I'm just going to put the cable through the hole in the thing here. Then, let's see. I just got to make sure I see how I'm orientating this thing. Okay, because that's where the power goes. Okay, I believe it's actually like this. Yeah, because I remember all the cables kind of go on the top. And it's a little bit awkward, but it's one of those things, we'll figure it out. But what I'm going to do first, because I think I can do this now because I had to actually drill the hole bigger, is get the cables here and see if I can run the power cable for the screen through that same hole and then actually make it fairly seamless, and then the back will actually be able to close. So let me just get this out of the way really quickly first. Because the HDMI cable might not fit through the hole with the, well, the power cable might not fit through the hole with the HDMI cable there, so I'm going to just quickly take this and feed the power cable through the hole here. There we go. Not bad. And that's not too big of a cable, so I'm just going to push it over to the side here. And then we're going to take the screen portion here, get our cable and kind of run it down, and that went through, so we're good. Now we need to plug in the power, and I think I'm going to plug in the LCD controller board as well, because that's going to be hard later. So there's the LCD controls. If I can get them seated right. There we go. LCD controls are in. So now we're just going to get this whole thing kind of situated as best as I possibly can. I can finagle around with it later. And as I said, this is kind of the first time I'm doing this since the cabinet was technically done here. We're going to see how well I can get this in here. Okay, I think yeah, there we go. We got to basically get the HDMI cable around the power cable. And the controller board has to not be in my way. And yeah, let's hope for the best here. There, it's more or less in there. Let me just see if we can maybe finagle it a bit better from the back. Kind of, sort of, not really, but I'll just leave it like that for now, and I can putz about with it more later, because then we'll have the rest of this nonsense in. So now we're going to take the actual guts of the thing here. And since it's going to be a lot easier to actually do this without the OpenJVS hat on, I'm going to remove that for the moment. Take the Pi 4 board. And then basically what we're going to do here is open the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and install this. I'm going to pause the video really quick, and then I'll be back to you. Because I know this is going to be a pain in the neck to do, because it screws into plastic. But it'll just be a moment. Okay, now after a a decent amount of off-screen struggle. Everything is finally in place, so I think there's no better time than now to try turning it on and pretty much seeing if at this stage our OpenJVS Arcade cabinet is assembled and functional. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the cord and see if we get, well, that's a good sign. Our screen comes on, it says HDMI, no signal. So let's go ahead and, well, the Pi's powering on. Is it by chance coming on? Yep, I'm getting a little cursor coming on the screen. And there we go. And now the screen is coming up, and there is my desktop. So sure enough, if I use my mouse here, I can move around and actually, I think I actually synced another dongle to my OpenJVS, but fair enough. What I'll basically just do right now is this, because I was not sure which dongle I had the mouse synced to, so I think it's this one actually. So I'm just going to put that where the controller would normally go, and as you can see, I can move the mouse on the setup in the OpenJVS here, and everything will be fully functional. I gotta finagle a couple things, but suffice it to say, the hardware is now in the OpenJVS Arcade cabinet, and suffice it to say, everything should be functional, but this is kind of the first time since the cabinet was fully sprayed and like all shiny like this that it's now working. The only other thing I really want to do is, how do you say it? Well, this is the screen bezel here, so that would go on like that. But this still has to be kind of finished a little bit and done. Or is it like this? It might be like this. But either way, it's one or the other way. But long and the short of it is, this is the first time the OpenJVS cabinet's been fully assembled and actually functional here. But I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And then we're just going to shut down. And that'll safely shut down our Raspberry Pi 4 that runs the OpenJVS Arcade cabinet. And I'm going to finagle a few more things, and the next time you see me, I'll probably have this thing buttoned up a little bit better than you do see it now. But yeah, this was a good test fit, and everything seems pretty good. But next time you see me, I'll have this maybe buttoned up a little bit better, and maybe we'll be ready for some OpenJVS gameplay. But that's all for right now. I'll see you later. Okay, well, after a decent amount of finagling, I got this a bit better now. What I actually ended up having to do, let me just get my thing out of the way here, is I actually had to take the board, the driver board, and kind of like move it down on the thing that holds the screen. And then I got another screw and just screwed the controller board onto one of the doors here, so it won't be just like floating free. And of course the Pi board and the OpenJVS board are all here. And as I said, the only thing I really want to do is take one of these fans, wire them to USB, put it like right there where the legit fan on the real new Net City would be. But that's going to probably be in the last part, which will be the last segment of this video. And after that, I'll probably just show a demo of it fully working. But that's going to be all for right now. It's pretty close to being done at this point. Just a couple of little things I want to do, and that's all. And as you can see here, I just have to get the screen like placed a little bit better because it kind of slid up a little bit, but that's all.